Fisher Kurt loved to venture into unknown waters and find new species of fish, but he could hardly imagine that one day he would stumble upon the biggest mystery of his life. Kurt stared aghast at the massive object hauled from the depths, his mind reeling. It was heavier than he'd thought, bordering on crippling his prized crane. His crew recoiled in horror, clamoring to cast it back into the abyss. But Kurt, driven by an insatiable curiosity, knew this was no ordinary find. As they lashed down the huge object on deck, Kurt walked around it in a mixture of awe and fear. He knew this was something beyond his expertise and urgently asked for backup. The experts came, their words sending blood-curdling chills down Kurt's spine. They explained that the sea holds a lot of secrets, they explained. About 95% of its contents are unmapped, which fuels continued speculation about the creatures lurking at its darkest depths. Kurt, who had always loved the ocean since he was young, started this diving and fishing business first as a way to explore the mysteries of marine life. The amazing variety of fish species, most of which were still unknown to science, and their marvelous adaptations for living in conditions unlivable by others, fascinated him. As much as fish are a part of it, as Kurt dove deeper, he found the sea held so much more. Kurt's love of the sea was far deeper than a love of fish. As much as going out to sea as a fisherman seemed natural, following in his father's footsteps, an insatiable thirst for adventure and discovery fueled his true purpose. Kurt wanted to explore the unknown, but many times his pursuits had him treading into dangerous waters. He had uncovered hidden locations, their existence hidden by powerful corporations, even the government. These incidents only kindled a fire in him instead of discouraging him to bring the truth into the light. Kurt felt that as a citizen, it was his responsibility to expose those dark corners of the world. His day had started off like most of the days, with the early morning sun coloring the horizon. He prepared himself to go fishing like any other day, but in between, he did his clandestine searches for undiscovered places. But today was going to be different. This time, the catch would come first. When he reached the harbor, his crew was already busily preparing the vessel to set sail. The captain went aboard. A greeting nod was enough as they set sail to nowhere into their adventure. As they headed out of the harbor, one of the crew turned to him and asked where they were headed. Kurt shrugged, ever the adventurer. "Let the current guide us," he said, quite a common practice in his search for the unknown. His crew agreed without a moment's hesitation. This method, charting courses dictated by the whims of the sea, had yielded countless discoveries, each meticulously logged on a map he had cherished since his first voyage. A colorful tapestry of color-coded routes donned the map, a testament to his relentless pursuit to venture into uncharted waters. They had a good, smooth start of the trip, but an hour from the shore, suddenly the sea started to stir. It swelled with waves and a powerful current surged forward, about to overwhelm the ship. The ship was swept by the waves mercilessly. In panic, the crew tried to control it, but the violence of the current was too strong. For half an hour of horror, they were adrift at the mercy of the raging sea. The waves having subsided, they took stock. Miraculously, minimal structural damage had been sustained to the ship. However, they were miles off course, far beyond their range. For this potentially groundbreaking mission, Kurt chose his most experienced divers, Leon and Mark. They suited up, going through the ritual of checking each other's equipment before falling into the dark. Little did they know, a sight to behold awaited them. Kurt, who monitored their descent via underwater cameras and radio communication, at first saw nothing out of the ordinary. Then, on the screen, an apparition materialized. Kurt and his crew looked at each other, puzzled, unable to find what was wrong. It was there, beneath the surface, camouflaged, almost hitting the unsuspecting divers. The object was dark, like a grotesque shadow, but the symmetry of the shape did not speak of natural causes. It captured a shot of something none of them had ever seen, a view more befitting some distant science fiction movie than the floor of the ocean, an artifact that spoke of extraterrestrial origins. Kurt ordered his divers to surface with an impatient voice. The sense of urgency suddenly overwhelmed him, knowing full well that this mysterious object needed their immediate attention more so than the fishing expedition. Convinced of its importance, it could be hugely valuable, but not all his crew shared his enthusiasm. There was residual fear and apprehension among them, especially the two divers who had witnessed the object firsthand on the underwater monitor. They felt that the object belonged to the depths, that its presence there served a purpose. They were quite reluctant to disturb it, but Kurt would simply not be dissuaded. He knew, with a certainty which defied their doubts, it had to come to the surface. This firm drive for delving its secrets and disclosing them to the world dominated over every other reservation of any type. Thus, a plan was decided upon. Leon and Mark, having glimpsed this object before, returned deeper and better prepared this time to fix the mysterious object down using some tough red cable. Still unsure how heavy it was, but the weight seemed well in the capabilities of Kurt's powerful fishing boat crane. They succeeded in their mission, attaching the object with the cable. Just as the crane started rising, the unexpected happened. The object weighed many times more than they thought it would, and under the mighty force, the boat lurched sideways, teetering on its side, almost capsizing before wrenching the object from the depths. The thing that lay before their eyes was incredible, really. Not a single weird object had they found, but a long-ago artifact that had been stolen from a museum some 10 years earlier. Kurt was very well rewarded for his finding despite the harrowing experience he went through, and the artifact was returned to its proper place in history.